Hey everyone, how's it going? So we are here with this Tesla Model Y non-performance again. We've been driving this non-performance Tesla Model Y for over a month, and we wanted to give feedback to our family member who owns this vehicle. And the reason why we want to recommend this upgrade is because the owner of this vehicle, who is a family member, wanted to improve performance but also improve ride quality. And there's nothing out there that you can easily find that gives you the best of both worlds. We came across a company called Unplugged Performance, and they have a luxury suspension that allows you to improve ride quality, meaning it rides smoother, less bumpy, but also handle better than the stock suspension. So we're at Unplugged Performance. They're the only company that we're aware of that have this suspension and is in-house customized to work with Tesla vehicle. They only work with Tesla vehicle. They have their own product engineered to their specification, and they work with high quality manufacturer. So the suspension we'll be installing is designed, engineered by Unplugged Performance, manufacturer in Japan. So we have here the Tesla Model Y backing into their installation bay, and this is in Hawthorne, California, right next to SpaceX. You can see the backdrop there. Here we have the installation center lead. He'll be backing this Model Y into their installation bay, and you can see there the care taken with covering up the seats and also making sure that the vehicle is in good order before they pull in to the Jack Bay. And right now we are following them in because we did ask to be able to get some footage and see what goes on in this installation center. So let's listen in to one of the Unplugged Performance staff to talk about the suspension.
It's a linear spring. However, there's two rates in here. That's why we call it dual rate. And so when normal driving, you're only getting a little bit of compression there, and it only engages that first rate, which is a softer spring rate. And so that's where you get that comfort. And you get a little bit more handling and sportiness. You're taking faster curves, you're in the canyons. It's going to create a little bit more lean in the car, and that's where it's going to engage that second rate, and that's where it's a little bit more sporty. So for everyday driving, for your normal bumps, you're in a more comfort suspension. In a little bit more of an engaged driving scenario, you are getting a little bit more sporty suspension.
As you heard there, the suspension with this luxury package gives you best of both worlds. So not only that you have better handling in corner, you also have better ride quality when you're not cornering or when you're cornering as well. So he will talk more about the actual suspension itself. So let's listen in.
Once we get everything off, these will slip on here. Once we put we'll take some components off the stock shock. So we'll take an isolator part off of here. Shock will slip on. You put the dust shield off of the OEM shock, and then the OEM top hat up on the top. So it's retains a lot of the OEM quality components, and so we're just.
It looks better than OEM.
Yeah, it's got a nicer finish, and the performance is obviously
There you have it. This is the Unplugged Performance Luxury Suspension Kit. They were also installing the High Performance Suspension Kit that focused mainly on handling. The ride quality is still good, or if not better, than that of the Tesla Model Y stock suspension. But you have better handling. So it's interesting that they are able to install different version to focus on different drivers' need. And in this case, the driver owner focused on performance and wanted performance. So back to the Model Y with the luxury suspension installation. You can get this installed at Unplugged Performance in Hawthorne, California. But if you're nowhere near Hawthorne, California, then you can inquire with Unplugged Performance their list of recommended installer. They have hundreds of recommendations that if you are not near their installation center, just order it, they'll ship it over, and you can bring it to those installer, and they'll do it for you as good as Unplugged Performance here in Hawthorne, California. And here, the installer is getting in this luxury suspension kit on this Model Y. This Model Y is a special Model Y. It's special because they discontinue it. So other than that, it's not that special. It's a unibody or uniform body, structural body that they used to build with the 4680 battery, and they have since discontinued that last year. So they only went into production for a little less than half a year in 2023, but we believe that Tesla realized there's an issue with where the jack points are at. So it's very dangerous to jack the vehicle fully up and install the suspension. So what Unplugged Performance did was they brainstorm in a group and figure out how to troubleshoot and work around this concern. So it's more of a safety concern, but they decide to install the suspension the old school way, which is lifting each corner up and working on the front, then the rear. They also work on alignment and make sure that there's no wear and tear of the tires in spot that shouldn't be. So they will show you that, at least for us, we'll see it later on in the video how that is done. So right now we're getting the front suspension remove and install. You can see there the vehicle is only slightly lifted up. Again, that's due to Tesla built and where the jack points are at. Okay, so the whole process took less than a few hours, and now they are working on aligning the wheels. So they want to make sure that after the installation, the wheel is fully aligned on all corners to make sure that you don't have wear and tear on certain spot of the tires. And these are Pirelli tires, high performance tires with improved ride quality. So you can see there, they put it on a different jack now. So this allows it to jack up by the wheels. And they are working through their alignment system. We got a close look of the computer. I don't understand a lot of this, but it looks very techy and complicated. So again, Unplugged Performance have installed thousands of these suspensions, and this is just another day, another walk in the park for them. And they were able to troubleshoot and work through the challenges with this specific structural build from Texas Gigafactory. Good thing Tesla don't build these anymore, because it would have caused potential risks if you take this to a uncertified installation center or a center that's not familiar with Tesla. The vehicle could easily tip over, and the reason for that is because the jack point is so narrow, meaning it's too close together on all four corners. The front is too close to the rear, and the rear is too close to the front. So again, here's some close-up. They attach some devices that align with the lights, and they adjust the actual suspension itself to make sure the wheels are evenly sitting on the floor. So when you're driving, you don't have wear on like the inner part more than the outer part. And they also rotate the tires for this Tesla Model Y. They did ask us, very considerate installation center with very expert doing the install themselves. So these guys have been working on cars beyond Unplugged Performance to be able to work on these Tesla now. So the installation is done. You can see now with the luxury package, you can adjust the stiffness, and also you can work on the height too. So this does sit 3¼ inch lower than the stocks, which looks better in my opinion. It sits with the wheel wells a lot better. It curves along the wheel wells without any uneven gap. So if you've seen certain vehicle in the Model Y, especially with the Gemini wheels, it looks like they have high waters on. So first glance, looks good, but the most important thing is the ride quality. So we'll be having another driver drive it, and not just a biased opinion from ourselves, but the owner himself will be driving the vehicle. So he'll be able to explain the difference between what it feels like before versus now. So let's go ahead and listen to his reaction.
All right, so the luxury part and the dampening and the comfort, that's great and all, but just taking the corner, there's definitely improvements there as well. I mean, they were saying it's a dual rate spring, so it's supposed to provide improvements to the performance of the car as well. That definitely feels a lot more planted and stable than the stock suspension, so that's great. Dual benefits.
All right, what do you think about the ride quality on the highway now?
So we're spoiled in that we also have a Tesla Model X long range. So obviously the air suspension of that is awesome. It's really smooth, especially on longer trips. And you could tell the difference when you get out of the Model X and into this vehicle about how much more jarring the ride was. I'm not going to say that the suspension is as good as the air suspension of the Model X, but this is a drastic improvement. I mean, I can't wait to share it with the family so they can experience how much smoother the ride is compared to before. Yeah, I think they'll be really impressed with the overall comfort, especially if you take this on road trips over the summer, over longer drives. This will definitely, make it more likely that we're going to select the Model Y as the car to take.
So in conclusion, do we recommend this suspension kit? 100% yes. If you're looking for better ride quality with improved performance, this is the best of both worlds. If you want just performance, they also have that too. So we'll post a link where you can find them in the description of this video. Make sure to mention the Megawatts because they were generous enough to let us film inside. But right now, we'll catch you all next time. Remember to subscribe again. Unplugged Performance.